At what moment did you realize I'm old? When I find myself grunting and groaning just to bend over to tie my shoes. Yo, I do this and I'm 21. The struggle is real. My 12 years old daughter's friend told her the amount of times your mom has worn that outfit is astronomical, and when my daughter repeated it to me, all my hopes of being a cool mom were crushed and I felt older than I ever have. When I fell down at work and no one laughed. Instead 3 people came running over to make sure I was okay. I never thought of it that way. When you're a teenager and someone falls, it's the funniest shiver. Holy sh, this is depressing. Oh my, I laughed so hard at this. Thank you Jellybellum. When I went to a music festival and slept in a tent after 5 or so years of not doing so. My god, I need to get home and take a real shower. Truth. I slept on an air mattress for the first time in years and holy hell did I ache the next day. Gone are the days I could fall asleep on cold concrete contorted like the best circus act and wake up feeling as refreshed as a spring chicken. When I was in my late 20s I dated a girl who had a daughter. The daughter and I got along great, played a bunch of Katamari together, etc. Years later, that girl and I have long since broken up. I did some volunteer teaching at one of the local alternative schools with my wife, and one of students in the film class we taught was my ex-girlfriend's daughter, now 18 years old. At some point in your life, whether you have kids or not, you realize you're technically old enough to be a grandparent, and that feels very old. Over the summer I was reading about a teenager who had been killed. He was survived by a daughter and his 33-year-old mother. Now, this isn't normal overall by any means, but I still stopped to think how this woman was not only a grandmother but could have been a senior in high school when I was a freshman. When I overheard my teenage niece and her friends taking the piss out of things millennials say, "Listen here you little shiz. Haha, my sister is 19 and she's been keeping me abreast of the millennials are corny jokes. I had no idea we were suddenly so effing old and uncool. Apparently millennials went from kids these days to my uncool dad in like 2 years. I have kids and thought I'd be a cool dad. I know for a fact now that my kids are going to think I'm just as much of an embarrassment as I found my own parents. Instead of growing facial hair to look older, I'm shaving it to look younger. 27 here and still shaving to look older instead of looking like a 16-year-old who is trying to grow his first beard. Get a cool lumberjack-esque beard. Perfect blend of both. When my son could outrun me, I went obstacle course running with my oldest, 6 years at that time, and he asked if we could still be doing that in 10 years. I told him I would be 50, so sure. You know what that little sh said? Cool. I will hold back for you dad. He is probably right, but I will keep training to not make it easy for him to pass me. Lol, I was 36 when my son was born. I hated it when the neighborhood softball team wanted him over me. I saw a picture on Facebook of a friend from college and thought, damn, he got fat and old. I immediately realized, I also got fat and old. My 2 New Year's resolutions are, number 1, get back into the shape I was before the accident. Number 2, stop referring to letting myself go and getting fat as the accident. I didn't do it on purpose though, it was an accident. I used to drive for Uber and one night I realized the college girls I picked up could have been my adult daughters. I had something similar, but realized the college girls were too young for my children. Damn, I'm 22 now, and I have no idea how that feels. That's such a weird thought. My girlfriend and I went to visit our university campus a few years ago and I realized any of the students who saw us wandering around would have assumed we were some students' parents. I had to explain to someone how we used to organize meeting up before cell phones became a thing. That and having to use encyclopedias and other books to complete homework. I'm mid-30s. The reactions I was getting, it was like I was explaining how to split an atom using 2 sporks. I was literally just talking to my friend about that. Neither of us could wrap our heads around how you'd plan anything. If someone didn't show up to your meetup, did you just assume they couldn't make it? How could you even call if there were a change of plans if you weren't at home to use the phone? Well, a lot of times you'd just wait as long as you were willing to. Usually an hour was most people's absolute maximum. You might try to call their house on a payphone if there was one. There wouldn't be a change of plans either. Once you made a plan you had to stick to it, and if something came up you had to work hard to make sure you still made it on time. You couldn't change plans if something came up. This is a major cultural difference between the younger generation S and older ones, and I think it causes a lot of problems. This is why older people make such a big deal about being reliable and making plans. Because if you weren't, someone might literally be sitting in a parking lot waiting for your A for 30 minutes, and they would be rightfully pissed. They played Green Day and The Offspring on the classic rock radio station. Then the announcer says something about it being released on this day 20 years ago. WTF? Oasis. What's the story? Morning Glory just turned 25 years old 2 weeks ago. When I mentioned MRT to my wife's friend and she had no clue who I was talking about. Did you pity the fool? They all pitied me. So yes. When I'm signing up for an account on a website, I have to scroll back pretty far to find my birth year now. According to most websites, I was born on the 1st of January, 1901. Oldest human was 122. So there is a chance you aren't lying at all. I just turned 30 and got a hemorrhoid instantly. Also, I have no idea how to spell hemorrhoid. Allow me to help you. Hemorrhoid. Thanks. Spelling it's a real pain in the A. I was playing basketball alone and a bunch of kids smashed a beer bottle on the other side of the court just for fun. I shouted at them, told them to pick up the pieces and warned them not to do that ever again. They got scared shirtless and apologized. I had never felt older. Shirtless? You motherfucker. When I spotted a gray pubic hair, oddly this bothered me more than the gray hairs on my scalp. Oh, what now? Is this a thing? Yeah dude, your dick is going to look old as F. Gray pubes, wrinkles on your nuts so deep you can hide a coin in there, and your balls are going to sag. You think titties get saggy with old age? You ain't seen nothing yet. You'll have to wear underwear just to make sure you don't accidentally sit on your old man nuts and tweak your back jumping up. As you get older, you'll have to urinate with increasing frequency and decreasing volume until you just dribble a bit every time you move. When you come, dust will come out. The slats and folding wooden beach chairs will present a mortal danger, and unsticking your balls from your inner thigh will produce a sound akin to Velcro. You'll be able to do a passable impression of a flying squirrel. You will learn to appreciate the sensation of farting your balls out of the way. If you jump from a height greater than 1 foot, your balls will snap downward in a horrifying mockery of bungee jumping. If you're ever forced to choose between running in boxers and immediate execution, you'll need to seriously consider your options. Poseidon's kiss will become a regular occurrence, as it is written. So shall it be. Bonus fact, your testicles are constantly on the move. Here's a fun experiment. Have a seat and stare at your balls for a full minute. If you've never done it before, I guarantee you'll see something new. Coming around the corner of a department store and seeing my dad come around the corner at the same time. It was a mirror. I occasionally say things and hear my father's voice coming out of my mouth. I even notice I have the same half smile he does when I think I'm being clever. It's worrisome. Same for me. I'll say something then think holy hell I sounded exactly like dad. I'm in my late 40s and my beard is almost completely white. I was at an event a few weeks ago where my dad was receiving an award. A local dignitary who had been giving the award asked my dad if I was his younger brother. I was teaching a class last week and told my audience that they may need to MacGyver a solution if they come upon a certain problem. No one knew what that meant, because someone asked. It was an EMT refresher course. These are the people you trust with your life. I was born in 1999 and, while I've never actually watched it, I'm well aware of what that means. When I see popular Reddit posts mentioning celebrities with weird names and I'm like, who the F are these people? This isn't just age. It's also a product of the internet era. It used to be that everyone watched the same shows on the same few channels or listened to the same few radio stations, or whatever. So everyone knew the same celebrities. In this age where the monoculture has been shattered, everyone is watching different shows on Netflix, YouTube, etc. It's so much easier to find niches. No one knows the same set of celebrities anymore. For me this is the trending tab on YouTube. There are days when outside of the lone sports clip on there, I don't know a single person group on there, and usually these folks have millions of subscribers. She's wild these days. When my oldest daughter was in 1st grade, she brought a note home from the teacher, saying that my daughter had misbehaved. I had to sign it and send it back. My daughter was scared and tearful and it suddenly struck me. Holy sh, I'm the adult here. I'm the authority figure who a little girl is scared to be in trouble with. To me, I was the same person I was when I was 16. My very first time monitoring the playground as a substitute while in college to be a teacher. A small child ran up to me and complained someone had pushed her. My immediate reaction was to think, why is she telling me? She needs to go find an ad. Oh my god, I'm the adult here. I was walking through Sheffield after work, about 7 PM, around December 2013 I think. It was freezing. A bunch of students rounded the corner and a couple of the girls were wearing really short dresses, no coats. Thought 1. She must be freezing. Thought 2. That's something my dad might have said. Thought 3. I'm old enough to be her dad. Thought 4. Why did I not think she was fit? Thought 5. When the F did I start thinking like this? These thoughts passed through my head in what must have been only half a second. I got a shooting pain in my butthole while at work and it took my breath away. Wait, this happens to me pretty frequently. I'm only 21. This is known as shooty ass. It's when the muscles in your butthole get cramp. It can happen to anyone. Getting excited over things like a new vacuum, new water heater, or a not plastic silverware tray. Realizing the Linkin Park album I like is 20 years old. Laughing when someone invites me out, especially if the start of the event is 9 PM. It's even funnier when you're so old you forget it's Linkin Park. It's even funnier when you're so old you forget it's Linkin Park. In the end it doesn't even matter. New vacuum excitement is no joke. I bought a Dyson a couple of years ago and it was life altering. Also, 9 PM start time is legit relatable. That's like an hour away from bedtime. Nobody got time for that, at least past 30. I lad mine since it was the reason I thought to ask this question. Last week I sneezed and it threw my back out. If it makes you feel better, I was 19 when that happened to me. I was so embarrassed I told everyone I was helping my mom move something heavy when it happened. That's sad. When I was 19 I already had a fat bank account. Maybe about you should learn business like me and live a great wealthy life. Have fun with your boring life though lol. When a student nurse at work tells you she was born the year you left high school. Kids born in 2002 to 2003 are in college now. Could have sworn they were always 8. Kids starting college this year were not yet born when 9/11 happened. Stop, that hurts. I grew up watching Friends and remember an episode where Jack Geller, Monica and Ross's dad, talks about having to shave his ear hair. It was a funny, gross moment. I have to do that weekly now. I was at work and had a meeting with an ex-Olympic gymnast. She was stunning and had cosmetic surgery to enlarge her frontage. She was also wearing quite a low-cut top that had metal spikes in the shoulders. All, supposedly, very distracting stuff. My very first thought, I bet that jumper makes a noise in the tumble dryer. My second thought, I'm old. The first time I sat on my balls. When I took off my driving glasses and put on my reading glasses for the first time. But the worst one was when I saw a girl in a supermarket near me that looked exactly like a girlfriend I had a long time ago. I was about to go up and say something to her when this older lady grabbed her and said, "Caitlin, come here," and scowled at me. At that moment I realized that the old lady was my ex and the girl was her daughter. That was a low blow. I was just buying dryer sheets but instead I got my age thrown in my face like a punch from Mike Tyson. When a kid said, "What's a DVD?" Not even VHS. When my new doctor looked like Doogie Howser MD. For those that don't know that reference. Point proven. When I learned what I've been referring as pounds is actually hashtags. I still don't know why it is called a hashtag instead of pound though. Today, Eminem is 48 years old. How many years ago 9/11 happened? That one really blows me away. It happened long enough ago that there are young men and women entering university who don't have any memory of the event or life before. Also, less than a year before 9/11 memes are going to be allowed on our history memes. You relate to those progressive commercials about acting like your parents. When I learned that my 17-year-old niece had never heard of Weird Al Yankovic. I saw a comment the other day saying that we're closer to 2050 than we are 1990 and that just made me feel old since I grew up in the 1990s. Whenever someone says 20 years ago, I still think 1980, not 2000. Think of this then. 1940 is just as far away from 1980 as 1980 is to today. Scared the living sh out of me too. I was cleaning out the storage room and came across my old Game Boy. Said to myself, wow, this makes me feel old. It's been like 10 years since this was made. Got curious and googled it. 1989. When I was about 28 or 29, I added laughter lines to my Xbox avatar. That was a little joke because I was starting to notice the moral. No biggie. When I was 35 though, I noticed my first grey hair. I remember exactly where I was when I saw it. Existential crisis. Initiated.